Welcome, welcome, everyone. Welcome. Wow, welcome, everyone. The question tonight is what happens when someone who has spent years building a life in the United States is suddenly faced with the possibility of returning home? Hi, everyone. My name is Gabrielle. And welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Money with Friends. On Let's Talk Money with Friends, we say all the time that money encompasses everything. And so tonight, this conversation that we're going to have goes beyond money. We are talking about identity, uncertainty, home, dignity, preparation, opportunity, and the future of Haiti. For many Haitians facing uncertainty surrounding TBS, the question isn't simply what happens to my immigration status. The deeper question is what happens to my life. So tonight we are going to explore the question with Dr. Guerda Nicolas. Dr. Nicolas is a professor at the University of Miami and president and co-founder of Ayiti Community Trust. Dr. Nicola is also working to build a new ecosystem through Ayiti Home Link, connecting Haitians with information, resources, and opportunities as they prepare for what may come next. So tonight, I really would like to have you be part of this conversation and also to let a friend know about this important conversation because this conversation, yes, it's definitely a conversation that we want to have as Haitian Americans for our community. But if you are a friend, I know I've been in this country for decades and I have friends who are non Haitians and they're really concerned about what's happening with our community, the Haitian community. You don't have to be Haitian to care. You just have to be a human being. And the support that you can give to the work that's being done through Dr. Guerda Nicolas and others definitely will make a difference in the lives of the community that you care about very well. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Nicolas, Guerda Nicolas on the show. Thank you so much, Dr. Nicolas, for being here. Welcome. And
Thank
yeah, let
you.
me give you an opportunity to say hello, and then we're gonna dive in to this very important conversation.
Bon
For
bagay.
those of you who are looking, it's coming home to Haiti, empowerment, community, and opportunity.
Bon bagay. Bon bagay. Nan nan bon kriol la, nou
Yes,
konen bien ke depo moun vini la kay on moun, nou
yes,
komanse avek lone,
respect.
epi, asemble a di respect, exactement.
Yes,
So, map di lone a nou tout, lone, Gabriel, lone, a tout moun kap branche. So just so those of us who are watching this who are English speakers, we don't say bonsoir, bonjour. It's not our language. It's not
yeah,
indigenous to who we are as Haitians.
yes,
Bonjour, bonsoir is what we borrowed from the French. So when we
correct.
show up at people's laku and show up people's home, so I invite you when you show up in your cousins, your aunts, your mother's house, and you open the door, say lone, and then see what happens. And you should be getting a response back that says respect. Why is that important? It's important because it already set the tone to say this is going to be a space where we're going to honor each other and
Yeah,
be respectful of each other. So it's in that spirit I say thank you for the invitation to be here with you, Gabrielle. And this is such an important platform because we get a chance to tell a different story. I've been saying for the last couple of years that Haiti is in a revolution. And one of the revolution that we are in is a revolution of narrative. And we need
correct.
our own storytellers. We need the people who can tell the stories of what's really happening, like of who we really are. When we rely on other people to tell our stories, they will tell it the way they want to tell it. But
Correct.
when you have a Gabrielle that that's telling the story, how
Sorry.
we should be telling the story, then we know the story will be done the way it
Yes.
should be told. So just
Yeah.
appreciative of you and you creating this space and the opportunity to be with you live from Haiti, which is where I
Yes.
am right now.
We are live. Thank you so much, Dr. Nicola. I've seen you many times because, I'm always there to support my community. I know you are a great supporter of the Haitian Women Network, Ladies Network.
Yep.
I went to Washington, D.C. A few years, actually, maybe several years ago, and you were one of the speakers, and I've seen you many times. I've always been in awe of the work that you do because anytime someone is a humanitarian, dedicated their lives to really help humanity and others, you're my friend. Even in my head, you're my friend. So the other day, when I was online, I saw an article about the work that you're doing to help our community members who are facing this moment of uncertainty. I wanted to have a conversation with you in order for us to empower and
Yep.
encourage our
Yep.
community because it's important to me to have that. So with that being said, I just wanted to ask, like the very first question I'd ask was, after living in the United States for decades, some people have been here for decades and others came after the earthquake. When someone is told that they may have to return to Haiti, right? What does the word home actually mean?
Yeah, no, such a great question because um there is house and there's home,
Correct.
right? So most of us have lived in lots of houses.
Yeah.
And so when we buy a new place or we go to a new place, you move from one state to the other and you buy a new house. We don't say you call it buy a new home, you like you buy a house and then you turn it into a home,
Yeah.
right? And now you turn it into home. What does that mean? Is that you take a space and you turn it into something that is agreeable, that is comfortable to your mind, to your spirit, to your body. You take a place and you turn it into a space where you feel, right, that you can be comfortable and so forth. And I think one of the beauties about Haitians is that we've managed to create homes in lots of
Yeah.
places. So people who are living in France have created homes in France. People in the United States create homes in Canada, those in right and so on. However, having said that, we know bagay lakay sila kahila toujours là. So what's interesting about, I think, being an immigrant that migrates to another place where you kind of forced to create a home for yourself, like there's a part of you that always remember kote zambwe kote ye, where your umbilical cord is buried. And I can always tell what happens when an event, when the Tabu Combo song lague, that says Haiti, alam content
Oh my
where,
gosh.
right? The
Yes.
moment that song, people who were not dancing, people who were not, right, and so on. So,
Yeah.
and people who haven't been in IT for a very long time, there's something about hearing your home and being Lakai that also is connected. So there's this sense of like, I have two homes, I have a home that's in my heart, that's in my head, that's in my l'esprit, and that's why that song like resonate with us. And then there's the home where I get in my car and I go to work and I do these things, right, and so on. So I,
Yeah.
I that's the way I think of that concept, Gabrielle, in terms of the way we think about home. Yeah,
I had a psychologist. I think we've connected, Dr. Mayos, and she
yeah,
mentioned, she might be watching. Hi, Dr. Mayos. She
right.
mentioned, like, that was very powerful for me. She talked about the existential depression. The
Mhm.
depression that, yes, you are existing, you are functioning, but you still have that yearning for home. I would
Yeah,
like to, as a psychologist, because you're a clinical psychologist, a
yeah.
professor, humanitarian, so many a coach, I would like for you to address this because in looking at what I see online, people fail to understand that, again, the creation of home does not mean folks have forgotten where they came from.
That's exactly right.
And how does that relate to the TPS situation that we're going to be addressing in the next question? Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's important to like there's we're very good. I think that's one of the things as as Black immigrant folks in the United States that we've managed to assimilate, acculturate. We learn the language. Like, I mean, I can meet a Haitian that has no accent. You know what I mean? Like and they were like born in Haiti, came to the States in their teens, and then you're hearing them and they have like zero accent. Like so that we learn like the language. We've mastered the language, we've mastered the food, we've mastered, what it means to live in that space, right? But what we also have, which is also very important as an immigrant, right? As somebody who migrated to another place, is that you always have that connection right to home. And that's also connected to like the way people feel about the sort of nostalgia that people have, right? So if you look at the different age group of people that we have, so if you remember like what Carrefour used to look like, that Del Mar used to be like, you remember like that time in Port-au-Prince, there's a thing that you remember, and when you see the images of what's happening now, it's sort of like traumatizing, right? That you're seeing, because your memory still goes back to the time when you used to like go with the Frisco and the
Right.
ice cream to the marché, you know what I mean? Like, so you still hold on to many of these things, and they
Correct.
haven't like gone away. And part of that, I can tell you, as somebody who spends a lot of time focusing on the brain, Gabrielle, and that is things that enters the brain doesn't go away. You know how you drink something and then you can like piss it out, we eat and we secrete them out. But what it happens, like when we experience things, we hear things, we see things, we smell things, it goes into our cerveau and our brain. And when things go into the brain, it does not go
Oh,
away.
wait,
It just
ever.
finds a little corner, like, so that's why sometimes you're like you may like suddenly like you see something and you get all emotional because you see the lambi, and then the whole emotion and the time that you were at the beach in Jacmel all popped up with the memories, and then you get emotional about it because that it enticed it, because that memory never went away. And
Yeah.
that's kind of connected to this idea of like this nostalgia. It's not nostalgia, it's like real life experience that I live, that is there, you know what I mean? And that's not gonna go away.
It's not gonna go away,
And
definitely, because I remember 3 years ago I went to Haiti, Cap Haitien, to celebrate my birthday because I wanted to be there. My sister had said, "Let's try to go someplace else," but for some reason I was like, I wanted to be home, and I had such a great time. And I know right now you are in Haiti. Look at the mountain
yeah.
behind you. Des montagnes et montagnes qui sont dit, et
Oh,
des monts
yeah,
et monts.
totalement.
Des
They're
monts et
one game
monts.
one.
Yeah, you are in Haiti right now. So, just to make it interesting, because I know for me, for the first, I came here when I was preteen, gonna be a teenager. And I know for me, for the first 10 years, I did everything in my power not to forget where I came from, in terms of like trying to, every night, I was having dreams, trying to remember where I came from, the streets, the
Mm-hmm,
friends.
mm-hmm.
I didn't want to forget. It was so important
Yeah,
to me not to forget. But what about you? I know I was talking to you the other day. I say, "You from New York or you from Miami?" And you're like, "No, I'm from New York because I lived in New York when I was a youngster." So
yeah.
what do you remember? Like when you first came here, because you were born in Haiti, right?
I was born in
So
born and raised in Tigua.
what did
Let me
you
just
give
be
up?
clear.
Because again, for many who are seeing what's happening with the TPS and the state of the Haitian community, or any communities, foreign immigrant community, they always assume that people forget where they came from, or somehow they're disconnected completely from where they came from, and that's why they're fighting hard to stay here. I would like
Yeah.
to have you share a personal experience. Like when you came here, what did you have to put on hold so that you can thrive here?
So it's kind of really interesting, and it will speak a little bit to like why this like drive that I have about IT is also
Yeah,
like is so like strong, right, as well. So
yeah,
I never in my head thought there was a better country than Haiti.
yeah,
I was born in Gangwa, raised in Tigwav. For those
yes,
of you people here from Tigwav watching,
yeah,
right, as well. And I thought I was birth in the greatest country
Yeah.
there was.
Yeah.
And I never had a dream. I grew up in the South, and most people wanted to sort of study in France and Canada and the United States. I never had that dream. And the reason, so I came to the United States. I said all of that to say I came to the United States in my late teens because my mother had immigrated to the United States at the time, and grew up with my grandmother, and my grandmother told me that my mother was very sick and I needed to go see her before she died. My mother lived in Brooklyn. And so at the time, when you went to pick up somebody at the airport, you could go right to the gate and go get them, right? This was pre 9/11. So, I get to New York JFK airport, and here's my mother looking mighty healthy. And then I realized that they had all lied to me about, and that was their way of trying to get me into the state. And I'm incredibly grateful to my grandmother and my mother because I think they're always wiser. We don't like him when they make decisions like that, but I think it was the right decision that they made. But it was an opportunity to say that I always assumed that my time in the States was to come, get educated, say thank you to the United States for the education that I had received there and the opportunities that I received. I never assumed that the United States was home for me for my lifetime. Like I didn't make this shift towards like moving permanently. And I think it's important as we're having this conversation about TPS, folks, because it's a very different process for people who are forced to leave Haiti because of issues of insecurity, because of an earthquake, because of other, major issues. You leave the country, and when you leave, it's the intent that you are about to go set up and do a better life, right? So you
Correct.
do that and you come and you're going to set life, and you've done that. You've contributed significantly, right? You came here legally, you didn't come illegally. You came to the States legally, you set up with your family, your kids are born here, you're going to work here. So in your mind, you've made a move
Correct.
to the United States. You didn't come here temporarily. You've made a move because you've settled there. So when you are then forced, not because of your own accord, to say, you know what, I've made a decision to like go back home, when that gets ripped underneath you, right? Then that is incredibly disturbing. That is incredibly impactful, right? The impact on our families and the children and everybody, people in our health, everybody is significantly impacted by this decision. So it's a very different disruption, Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Apropos de, like when we're talking about this moment in terms of like this connection to being to home versus not, right? And so forth. And I do think that is a big difference between people who sort of like says I'm going to study and work and to Canada, but I'm going back home versus people who felt like they had to like escape home,
Correct.
right? For another place and so forth. So then that makes that disruption even harder because I didn't decide. I don't have agency. I don't have a level of autonomy to decide what is it that I want to do and when I want to do it, right? As well. And all of that has a huge impact.
Yeah, it has a huge impact. And I know
Yeah.
that over and over again, I've seen on social media where people say that, TPS, and some of them are being facetious or sarcastic,
Yeah.
not understanding the depth or even the impact of their questions or their statements. They say T stands for temporary, and that folks should have thought about that when they migrated here. It was going to be temporary. What do you see about that? What is missing from that questions in terms of the human being behind that assertion? Like, yeah, it's temporary, but what do we have back home that folks are feeling? Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing I think people miss because it's not the word, it's about the why, right? So it's like if I've decided, right? So if I've decided, Gabrielle, or Gabrielle decided to say, Gerda, your home is on fire. Your
Correct.
home is X. Something is happening in your space. I would like to offer my home to you. And while you're there, you're going to contribute significantly to it, right? And the idea is when your home is back, then you'll be able to go when your home is rebuilt, right? And so forth. That's the part to me that is unnerving about when people say these kinds of things that I'm hearing about this word temporary, because it's not about the word, it's about the conditions. If the reasons why you provided me a space in your home is because you did not deem the conditions at home was good enough, and what we've seen in the last couple of years in Haiti is actually more destructions, more interference. Remember, we had a president assassinated in Haiti recently. So the destruction stuff is there. And in fact, the same country that is telling you that you need to go back actually played a role in some of that disruption, right? Stuff as well. So now nothing has changed in terms of the conditions, but then you said, please go back home, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the part of it that I think is unnerving. And it also doesn't take into account the human component, right,
Yeah.
to it. It doesn't allow for people to realize we're talking about individuals that have contributed significantly to a country that has worked, paid tax, that were illegally, that have, right, and so that set for life for themselves and so on. That's the part for me that is really, really disturbing in terms of that word. Yeah.
Yes, and then to think that we are people who have extended help to others. I know before we came on the air, we briefly started talking on something a little bit off topic, but I think it's very relevant to the conversation, and I would like to, for you to share a little bit of that. And again, toujours oublier que c'est haïtien, nous parler créole.
Et
So,
tout bon,
si
nous
vous
parler
voulez
bon créole.
partager un peu, nous sommes dit en créole avec plaisir, in and out. Those who want
Bon
to
bagay.
understand will understand. Because love in every language is straight from the heart. You
Yeah.
will understand if you love enough.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, we were saying like how Haiti, once upon a time, we were the one extending our hands to immigrants, to those who are fleeing uncertainty, dire situation like the Jews and the Chinese and the Polish people. Yeah, can you share some of that since you
Absolutely.
are the historian here? Yes.
No, I have a history as a historian, so I will not claim that at all,
Yeah.
that title at all. But I'm a lover of history. I
Correct.
love history, and I will spend a lot of time hearing, reading about it. I think it's very clear, and I think to your point, Gabriel, il fait partie de ça qui a passé là. Nous sommes
Yeah.
peuple qui sorti. We are a people
Yeah.
that comes from a culture and a history that when we win, everybody wins.
Yeah.
If we that fought not just freedom and for us, we fought for anybody else who wanted to gain freedom, right? As well.
Right.
So most people don't know, Gabrielle, that when the Jews were trying to escape the Holocaust, they knocked on the doors of the United States, and the United States turned them down.
Yeah.
Okay. Haiti was the only country in the Americas, the only country in the Americas that welcomed 50,000 Jews escaping from the Holocaust.
This en créole pour ça qui pas connaît
Tout
yo.
bon.
Yeah.
Et en pile moun ki pa konen, yo kal gade histwa yo, ke la mitan Holocaust la, les frères sœurs nou yo, ki jwef, yo tap ese pou yo evite krim sa, yo te frape nan pot Etats-Unis. Etats-Unis di non. Haïti, c'était seul pays dans l'Amérique là, qui te recevoir 50,000 juifs en dans pays. Le moment où ils étaient venus, ils étaient totalement libres, right, in the pays. And so, and I get goosebumps when I go to a place like Greece, and Greece has a museum, and in the museum they have a whole section about Haiti because they recognize that Haiti was the only country from the Americas who sent them goods and materials when they were fighting for their independence, right? As well.
Yeah.
Right? And so for which most people don't know. And people don't know that, of course, people know the Colombia, Peru, and Venezuela because
Venezuela.
we share the flag colors, right? And so on. They know that part of the story. But it was kind of interesting. I just went to Peru. Peruvian didn't know the
Yeah.
history of Haiti
Yeah.
and linked to Peru, right? And so on.
Yeah.
But like most people don't know in the United States, there are 8 town, indigenous African American towns named after
Haiti.
Haiti,
Yeah.
right? And so on. And so all of that speaks to the kind of nation that we come from that understood that what it means to be a neighbor and what it means to be a friend and our role in supporting humanity. Haiti, Gabrielle, took on a fight against dehumanization, take a fight about recognizing humanity. And that does not sit well for a whole lot of people,
Yeah.
when you take that on as well. So,
I am a believer, a Christian as is, and I always say, when you know the truth shall set you free. And I think I have the freedom to be who I am and to be very proud as a Haitian woman because I know the truth. And
yeah.
I'm not a historian because I studied business, but I've always been curious about history. And I remember vividly one of my favorite topics, subjects in school in Haiti was history because I was
Mm,
always so proud of our forefathers and for the fight they put up with
yeah.
against injustice and yeah, the fight in order for our liberation and also like you mentioned the liberation of so many
So
globally.
many
But
people.
we are here tonight because we are facing a reality, and the reality is there are many families right now qui pa ka dormi, qui stress out, moun qui feel yo realement humilié because there's really not, it's what's happening is not very dignified. Y ap humilié et yo pa kon ki wout pou yo fè. Et nan konversasyon sa, nou wè son pep ki toujou leve, kampe, mache. So, mdare me konen nan kesyon mgen se ke nou gran pil moun ki gen perwe koun ya. Men m konen wap fon travay ki pou ede prepare moun ki ta gen anvi ale volontèrman ou moun ki peut-être pas volontairement but tu as forcé yo ale koun ya.
Mm-hmm.
Qui sort de, how do we turn our fear into preparation and preparation into empowerment?
Yeah, such a great question, Gabrielle. I think I have a very good friend of mine, Professor Bayina Bello. Bayina Bello always
Yeah.
say, right? She always say that the biggest weapon against us is fear. Imagine that for a minute, because fear is paralyzing. When we're afraid, we get paralyzing, right? And
Yeah.
so on. Let me be very clear. I I would want nothing better for our 330,000 people in the United States who've contributed and supported the economy, who've built lives, contributed significantly to the United States, to be able to stay in the United States, right? And not have this disruption in their lives. And at the same time, I think we also have I feel like a responsibility to help people understand that we are living in a moment of fear, and that's a weapon. It's not just an emotion, it's a weapon. And that weapon is created to make us feel like we nous pas qu'à faire rien. Le moment où dans ce système ça, c'est comme si on la paresse ou on chien qui venir ou immobilisé. You can't move, right? And so on. So I want people to understand that psychological piece so that way we can be focusing on the things that we should be focusing on to ensure that we are taking care of ourselves. Whether or not you decide to stay in the United States or go any other places, that I am encouraging people to not stay in that place of paralysis and fear and really sort of be mobilized. I was talking to a good friend of mine who's a part of the Haitian Lawyers Association. She was saying she's shocked to see that there are people who are still asking, what should I do about my kids? Right? Because we're not prepared and thinking about what is it that I need to do? And it's not that because the person doesn't want to be prepared, it's because fear is paralysis. So once we're able to work through that, we're like, then we can have a game plan of what am I doing? What am I going to do for myself? What am I going to do for my family? What am I going to do? Right. And so on. And we're just, you know, putting our efforts because we know that there's a lot of organizations focusing on the United States to sort of help our brothers and sisters. And we're really just trying to put our focus on as a convener to see how we help people who are deciding to come back home. So if people decide that that's, like when you like get out of that state of fear for a moment and you start activated, and if one of the things you said, I want to go back home, as we were talking about before, it's like I say, then we want to make sure that people are coming back home in a way that's dignified and human, right, and so on as well, right? So, yeah,
Yeah, it is réellement important parce que on dit comme ça, preparation does not mean giving up. So we're
no,
not saying anybody who wants to keep fighting with other humanitarian organizations here, organizations who are fighting to help many stay here. Yeah,
yeah,
we want that. Preparation means getting ready. We
getting
want to
ready.
get ready because again, the period of uncertainty is here, and we want
Yeah,
to use multiple prongs approach to really fight so that you can have solutions, resources to help you. And you had mentioned like if folks who are asking our Haitians who are saying like, what do I do with my children? Many of them today, I was doing an interview with a radio station here, and I was saying like, you need to get ready even with your finances because
yeah,
that's one of the things, do some planning, estate planning, get a power of attorney, make sure that your properties are
awesome.
perhaps in a trust. Be sure that you do what you need to do in order for you to protect yourselves and not leave everything behind. And then you suddenly have to go and you haven't done any preparation. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
demande tout le monde pour vous préparer. So, gen ti monde,
Préparer.
make sure capable et un plan pour yo. So, wap kite yo ici. So, pour l'Haïti avec yo peut-être différent, mais soit kite yo avec famille, gon plan légal because there are documentation that you can have legal documentation
Absolutely.
and also to sou gen bien ici kay bank account tout bagay sa yo et assurance ou besoin gon plan légal pour yo et ça yon nan travail que me fait m'aider moun pour planifier pour bagay sa yo. But
Bon
with that being
bagay.
said, I wanted to ask you, I know I know the reason we're here is because I saw your website, the website that that it's called Haiti Home Link. And
Mm-hmm.
this is a website that you saying like, yes, if you want to get going, we have resources available. So can you ou capable partager qui ça, why did you decide, you and your and partners and different folks who are involved with this work, why did you decide that it was time to put together a platform that will provide resources for those who are actively searching for information on how
Yeah,
to
yeah. So,
go back home? Yeah.
interestingly enough, and let me just say one thing about the preparation thing, because which I think is important, and that is we're not saying to people to prepare because it's about TPS. All of us, Gabrielle, should be prepared, should have a power of attorney, should know what's going to happen to our kids, what to do. I say to people all the time, all of us need to have the little red bag, a backpack that has all your documents, all
Yeah.
your stuff, that it's easy for you to just grab and go in terms of that, because you just never know, like when you
Right.
might need to do that, and you may not be prepared to know where are all my documents, where are all my big bank account and so forth. This preparation that you're talking about, this is our moment. Even if you're not dealing with TPS, be prepared, like
Dis
there's
ça
a quote,
incroyable pour nous.
c'est tout bon, oui.
Yes, c'est tout bon. Oui,
Parce
dis.
que, parce que,
Yeah.
en pile fois que nous pas vraiment préparés, nous
Yeah.
pas connaît, on bagay vient passer, nous pas connaît bank account. Moi, t'as parlé avec un monde que on bagay vient passer et petite li, malheureusement petite la mouri, il pas de connaît qui j'en pour entrer dans le téléphone ni.
Yeah.
Parce que pas de connaît passcode li.
Yeah.
Et iPhone, Apple pas balil.
Non.
Wè sa dou la, so bagay kom sa, ke nou pa vreman prepare nou, se toujou mwen di tout moun se te suppose gon ti backpack rouge, la kay yo, ki gen tout bagay yo bezwen, tout papye, sertifika, mariage, date de naissance, kote bank account, passcode ou, tout sa suppose yon kote, pou prêt, so salman mte vle ajoute sa, so a fè preparasyon. Ma
Correct.
pale un peu de, So let me just say very quickly how this Ayiti Home Link evolved a little bit. So Haiti Community Trust is a community foundation, just like you know of all other community foundation that is supporting grassroots organizations in Haiti. As a community foundation, we play the role as always convening people. So when we heard last year of the potential issue with TPS, we started to think of where would one go to find resources of what's available in the country? If you were coming back, Gabriel, Kounia, ou apre toune en Haiti, esko konen ki jon pral, ki koto pral pou al
Après
chèche?
le docteur Mayence. Docteur Mayence.
Eske,
C'est pour ça que je connais qu'on y a en Haïti. Que
wè
je
som do,
suis capable de trust, yeah.
wè som do, men esko ap konen ki jan pou fè lisanso? Esko ap konen ki jan pou jwen nou ID card? Est-ce qu'on connaît
No.
that? What's I'm doing? Donc, c'est dans ce sens-là. That's how we started. And so we convened a group of organizations in
Yeah,
IT to say, let's create a resource guide so
correct.
that when people are coming back, no matter what, CPS or any other reason, they'll have a resource guide that tells them ID card, registering your kids in school, how to like go to clinics and all of that. So from that, came as we were pulling together the resource guide and the organizations, these group of organizations, so Buzz Inc., Cléger, Open a String, Rebâti Santé Mentale, un bon d'organisations qui commencent à se réunir chaque semaine à 4 heures dans mardi. Et puis, nous commençons à apprendre et Haiti Health Link, you know, as well. Nous commençons avec clinique santé parce que nous connaissons ça, c'est important pour nous qui retourner. Et puis, when we started connecting, when the organization started connecting with them, the hospitals were like, oh, we lost 40% of our staff. And if those people coming back, do you think they would want a job?
Oh, wow.
Nous dit, oh, ça pas même dans idée, peut-être qu'il y a un job dans ça. And then when we started calling the hotels started saying the same thing as well, that they're looking for competent, good service provider, client services kind of people, and you know, and so forth. So then that says, okay, we can't just put together a resource guide. We have to put together some kind of form that would allow people who are coming back to be able to be connected to employers. So we created at first what was called the IET Talent Connect. It was an opportunity to connect talented people coming back with people who have the potential who are looking for employment. And then as Buzz Inc., Asani and the whole team are brilliant people in terms of this digital technology space, and started to see that, well, we can actually create a system, a true reintegration platform that would allow people to go onto the platform, registered as a returnee, registered as an employer. They would allow them to be able to get a case manager. They will have a dashboard. They could be able to get linked to the to resources, wherever they want it, and there could be like live opportunities for interaction with actually human inside the app, and that's what IT Home Link
Yeah.
is right now.
I'm trying to see if I could share some of that. I had posted it on the page here. This is it
Yeah,
here.
that's
Let me see
exactly
if
it.
I can enlarge it. Oh,
That's it.
yeah,
Right? You
this
see it so people
so
can see. So just so people can see it, like so it looks like a
I'm
website.
returning to Haiti. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a web app. So when you register right now, it's in English, Creole, Francais, and in Spanish. It's
Okay.
in 4 languages that you can go in it. And when you go in it and you says, I'm returning to IT, you sign in, you can upload your CV, you can upload a video about yourself, you can ask for a pharmacist, you can ask for a lot of different things in it. And if you want to start a business, inside of it, there's an amazing law firm by Nayed, who's based in IT, who can actually help you start a business. If you say, I want to start a new business in IT, how do you do that from A to Z, right? As well, and so on. So part of it is like you have to go into create an account because it's not everybody. You have to create an account. The people get verified, Gabrielle. So it's not like you can be an organization employer because you have to upload all your materials, all your paperwork to demonstrate that in fact you are, right? That you are like a verified legitimate company and business organizations in the country, right? As well.
So
So
when you
if
say I'm an employer who has jobs available, you'll be able to sign on,
you're able to
sign
come
in
on,
here,
yeah,
registered, and be able to be okay
and
because
so
you
you tell you
return,
say in the
reconnect.
system. So what's so cool, Gabriel says, like cool la secure while on the system là. So ou ka di mwen employer, mwen gen mwen ki moun mwen ye mwen organisasyon mwen ki sa map chèche, and then the system will link you to any returnees that have that skill
Yeah, yeah.
and be
So
able to build that connection and that linking and so forth. So
yeah,
I
I
love
love the
that.
fact that I love this is connecting Haitian returnees with employment, healthcare, housing, education,
Yep,
capital, and trusted community
yep,
resources.
yep,
Very important. I think nous t'a parlé de peur, de fear.
yep,
En plus, le monde gen fear, like, qui côté m'pa l'habiter. Si gen docteur pour petit moi qui peut-être malade, et soit m'gon condition, et si m'son monde qui gen fully employed, comme qui employable, qui sort de travail capable de joindre. Nous te parlé à propos de en pile monde gen peur, so m'a pe stop et share ça. So definitely m'da vle tout le monde qui voulait aller apprendre plus de ça pour y aller dans website ça, Haiti Home Link, qui est capable
yep.
de plus d'informations de programmes qui gagnent et
Exactly.
opportunités qui gagnent pour eux-mêmes.
A resource too. You can search lien, par exemple, de pharmacie, de santé, like you can joindre qui côté un docteur, yes, qui côté clinique, yeah, tout ça. And all of them have been verified. So it's not like it's like static stuff. The people have to be active in the
Yeah.
country. And there's also a whole lot of stuff, Gabriel, from this parce que comme un psychologue, baka sorti là, ça m'a dit ça. There's also a whole team between the Haitian Psychological Association, Rebâti Santé Mentale, La Kutamara, Sprinted, like that are working on psychosocial and psychological services for our people who are going back as well, right?
Again, pour moun kap di kon sa, informasyon sa important pou yo men paske yo anvi retounen e gen tou ki vle retounen paske petet yo gen tan nan proses pou yo retounen paske yo gen tan mande yo pou yo retounen. Men ou menm ki la ki di kon sa, m pou kon vle retounen paske m vle rete isi jiskoun ya. M vle mande kisyon sa paske m kwa li important, yon nan rezon, one of the reasons why the people are so afraid too is because everybody thinks that they're gonna start from zero, from the ground floor. Would you agree? Like, I mean, I cannot even imagine starting from the ground floor if you've been here, educated, have skills. Yeah, like what information would you like to share with those who are thinking they're
Yeah.
gonna start from the ground floor?
Mais c'est ça nous voulons moun yo connaît, c'est ça, c'est deux bagages nous voulons connaître. C'est que un, sous décider pour retourner la caillou et faut gen faut qu'on groupe de organisations qui là qui prêt qui vraiment qui bien qui veut recevoir moun la caillou de façon qui vraiment et qui gen bienvenue l'autre respect ça nous t'a dit en commencement right là dedans. You know, when I have to share something with you, Gabriel, when the organizations in Haiti were coming together to put together this like integrated platform and so forth to make sure that if our people coming back home and those who've decided to make that decision to come back home would have a resources and a system that would be important to them, the people, one of the people said, the Haitian diaspora has been so good to Haiti. It's our turn to be good to the Haitian diaspora and do something for them. So this Ayiti Home Link is Haitians in Haiti doing something for Haitians in the diaspora who are coming home. So they don't have to start from scratch. So inside the system and the app, Gabrielle, the moment the person decides that's what they're going to do, let's say the person said, I'm going to go back and I want to go back to Okai. There's going to be who they are, knowing the resources that are available there. But more importantly, there's a case manager, there's a case supervisor that's assigned to them. They're going to be actually have a point of contact for an organization on the ground who can help them through that. Inside the system, there's a whole process of like, you can shift your stuff, which like, for example, people don't know. if you're a a Haitian heritage identity person, and you've decided that you're gonna come back to move at home, when you come back home, your douane tax is 10%. Like, so if you decide to pack your place to move all your stuff, and inside the system, there's a whole company that we're working with who will work with you from A to Z to pack you up and even go to your home, pack you up and move your stuff to to boat process to get you to the ports, either Milagran or Port Salut or Port-au-Prince, right, wherever the person is gonna go. So when you get there, then your stuff at home, that concept we're talking about. It's not like you're leaving all of that behind and not able to bring all of that with you. So the whole point of the system is to make sure that people don't feel alone. They don't feel like they have to go to this process or they have to start from scratch and not knowing. We, with the organizations that are doing this, like I said, we're playing the role as a convener, as a community foundation. The goal is to make sure that people are accompanied,
Yeah.
to this process.
They have support. And I
We have
think,
the
again,
support.
un pile Haitien qui a parlé dans social media, yo pense pa gen support du tout. Et m
Mm-hmm.
konen from, because for some reason, moi-même toujou ap chache informasyon ki pou eleve communauté an, level up the community. So m konen gen support ki available, gen pile ressources ki available. You just have to look for them and
Yeah,
connect with the right group of people. Definitely, Haiti Home Link, c'est une plateforme où besoin sign up pour connecter. Si vous êtes monde qui décide, it's time. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I want to go back home and start, not from ground zero, because you're not at ground zero. Gain information. Nous te parlé de ça, right? Gain éducation,
oui,
information et technologie. Gain pile baro que t'en prends déjà. Ou pas,
yeah,
ou te vini peut-être avec un minimum qu'on y a vini additionner sous son gagnant. Soit gagnant ou gagnant à utiliser les pour aider la communauté. En venant aller, moi, je voulais demander, parce que nous t'ai parlé de ça pendant nous t'avons fait une préparation pour ça, nous t'ai dit comme ça, non seulement moun yo gain pour yo pas commencer à zéro, mais qui sorte de bénéfices. Vous pensez à Haïti, tu doit réjouir, recevoir, si en pile t'as retourné, go back home.
bon Dieu, c'est pas, m'pa pral parler dans théorie, non, Gabriel?
Uh-huh.
What I'm about to say is not like theoretical. There are people who are already here. Now, there are people not in TPS who've made the decision to go back to Haiti. There are people who are in TPS who've also made the decision to go back to Haiti in the same way and so forth. And we are able to see like real life experiences of how are people, what people are doing. There are people who are able to go back to like where their family's from, and when they get there, parce qu'on connaît, lor sorti nan zone section communale, ou di nom se Gabriel, le moment rive là, tout le monde connaît déjà. Yo di, oh, depuis où figure, yo di, ça c'est petit, oh,
Really?
right? So there's also that as well. But I think that the process of coming home is an opportunity for Haiti. We're not before we used to say that Haiti is we're having a brain
Brain.
drain. Now we're calling it a brain gain
Gain.
because we're having a group of people coming back home who are multilingual, right? Who have an incredible level of skills, who understand systems, who understand politics, who understand the importance of voting, who understand the importance of being civically minded. But they're also coming in with some resources with the potential of creating new businesses, which would mean more employment for people in the country as well and so forth. So this is a huge opportunity I think we have to really rethink and think about the IT that we all want and think about ways that the people who are coming back home, who've made the decision to come back, can play a central role in what the future, of IT is as well. So I'm super excited. I'm excited about that.
Yes, definitely. I wanted to share one more time the information about Haiti Community Trust. I want
Yeah.
to briefly ask you, how would people, those who are watching, whether they're Haitian or Americans or non wherever they're watching from, would want to support the work because you cannot do anything without the finances and the
Yeah,
money. So I know you are in the middle of a fundraiser right now for
yeah,
$20 million under management in order to gain 5% of return on investment in order to help so many organizations. Can you share how? Actually, I was trying to see if I could get online to share. While you're talking, I'll try to go
absolutely,
online
absolutely.
to share this.
So yeah, so Haiti Community Trust, like I said, Haiti Community Trust is a community foundation, just like Boston Foundation, Miami Foundation, and so forth. And what makes us unique, just like other foundation, is that we understood that in order for us to ensure that we'll be there in perpetuity, is that we needed to build a permanent endowment fund as a part of the foundation, right? And so we are building this permanent fund, the endowment fund, what we are calling Fonds Permanent, what we are referring to as the Creole pig, kind of wealth creation, to really build a $20 million endowment that we are doing through the Miami Foundation that will enable
Okay,
us to invest that
explain
money.
now. Let's yeah.
Yeah,
Inspired by the innovators and culture bearers, rooted in community, we are building pathways to a sustainable Haiti. Yes, we, Haiti Community Trust, are doing this work together. We are mobilizing the Haitian nation, the people of Haiti who live in country and abroad in the diaspora, and the friends of Haiti who stand in solidarity. We are not only sustaining in the midst of turbulent times. Our grantees are leading the way in shaping a vision that's anchored in grassroots innovation, civic engagement, and environmental and social enterprise. Haiti Community Trust is focusing our work on the section communale, the rural communities across the island, to ground ourselves in that same foundation. By building a permanent endowment, we are planting the seeds that will sustain Haitian-led solutions in environment, civic education, and entrepreneurship for generations to come. We activate our family and friends from all across the globe to play a significant role in building a sustainable future. No matter where you are in the world, Haiti Community Trust is a vehicle for you to drive transformative change and build the Haiti we know is possible.
thank you, Gabrielle. Look at
Yes,
that.
definitely put your money. What's the expression? Put your money.
I bet she counts every
Oh,
Where your
calorie.
mouth is,
I
yeah,
gotta make sure I stop this. Oh,
Actually, I'm
yeah,
a single mom with 3 kids.
oh
You must have
gosh.
great genes. I don't.
yeah.
This is
I
what
train every
happens when
morning,
you are
10
like a
minutes, no equipment. You should
multitasking.
try it too.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Um,
Multitasking and doing it all. It's
mhm,
always fun. I thought I had stopped this, but yes, it's like definitely for those who are watching who do not have the TPS issue but are able to stay in this country, you can contribute to this endowment. $20 million, trying to raise $20 million. An
yeah,
endowment for $20 million basically is a pot of money, $20 million, and every year you're expecting the return on that investment to be 5%, and that would
yeah,
be $1 million that would be raised every year to support Haitian-led organizations. Haitian organizations that are being not only led but run by and also supported and also doing the work in Haiti.
absolutely.
Correct?
So, ça nous dit dans créole là, Gabriel, c'est graisse cochon qui cuit
For
cochon,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
So we don't want
definitely.
to never, completely take on the capital. We want to be able to focus on this. But let me just say this as to why this is important. I tell people all the time, Gabriel, the Community Foundation has been in existence for 10 years. And why are we deciding to do this endowment fund? Most of us who grew up in Haiti, if you grew up in Haiti, you grew up with some mango trees in your backyard, right? And every single year, the mangoes give you mangoes, every single year. But do
Yeah.
you know who planted the mangoes?
The
Do you know who
neighbor
planted?
before.
The person who planted the mango is no longer around. But
Correct.
that mango tree just keeps on giving you mangoes and you keep eating from it.
Yeah.
So we have to be mango tree planters.
Yeah.
So endowment fund is around that, is that we are planting mangoes so that another generation can continue to eat from the mango tree, even though we are not here. So that's why we're inviting people to this
Yeah.
United in Legacy and all of these ways to join us.
Exactly, legacy question. I know I could talk to you all night, but we have to go because I promised no more than an hour. Yes, Dr. Guerda Nicolas just dit comme ça, c'est pour son mango tree, c'est pour on plante mango, pour planter un mango pour l'autre génération capable servir à mango. Et ça fait matin, je dit dans chose samedi, hein, que on monde qui wise qui ton legacy pour petite li. Et on voisin qui wise qui ton legacy pour voisine li. Parce que legacy est
Yeah.
réellement important. Et so, I'm capable de pour, like, the last question, m'dame connaît si, like, if you could speak directly to every Haitian watching tonight, what would you want them to remember about who we are, what we carry, and what we can build together?
I think it's the same thing I'm saying to myself. So I want to be very clear. I'm not talking to others. I'm talking to me on a daily basis. I want to remind myself and remind us about what is it that we manage to do for ourselves and for the world. And a lot of people says, listen, we need to let go of the revolution. But we're in a very important month right now. August 14 is Bwakaima. And I hope some people are going to take the time. I don't think it's by coincidence that you and I are talking on August 12th when Bwakaima is coming on August 14 at this particular moment, where a very small group of people met together and galvanized
Correct.
the world in terms of what that means. And so it's an opportunity for us to remember that the power the power is in us. Freedom is in us. Our abilities is with us, right? It's I remind myself, I was like, you're a Bible person, and there's a thing that says God lives in you, which means the divine lives in you. That
Correct.
means I am divine every single day. I am divine, and if I believe that I understand that I have the power of freedom, right, and so forth, then it allows me to know that I have the power to decide how I want to be, how I want to live, and the contributions that I want to make today and so forth. So, on this special moment where we at ACT and Haitian Preservation always want to remember Wakaima, and we ask people to put it on your calendar because it is that day that that led us to November 18, which is Bataille de Vertière, right? Qui permet nous pour nous dire que impossible c'est enterré. So that means we buried the impossible, the word impossible in that moment. So from August to November, it's an opportunity for us to realize that we are possible. It is possible. You are possible, Gabrielle. I am possible, right? As in the midst of a time when people want to dehumanize us and put us back on shackles and remind us that we are less than and so forth, we have to remind ourselves that we are
Possible. No enterré, impossible. Oh my gosh. Tonight we talked about something that's bigger than TPS. Because I'm not interested about TPS because TPS is just a very
small.
small part of who we are. We talked about home. What does it mean? Okay, we talk about fear. We talked about preparation, human capital. That's you, that's me. We talk about dignity and opportunity. But the question initially when I asked the question, what happens if I have to return home? And I think the most important thing to ask instead of that is if I return home, what can I bring? Right? What do I have? What do I have in my hands I can bring? And also, what can I do to help build the country? We need to help build the country. So tonight, I want to say thank you again to Dr. Nicolas for being on the show. You are an amazing woman. You're doing amazing things in Haiti. And I want to be part of the amazing crew of people who are doing great things in Haiti. Because to whom much is given, much is required. I
Yeah.
know that we all here, the Haitian community, we have something. We have the history, we have the present, and we're going to have the future. Do
Yeah.
not get discouraged, my people. Fear is a tactic, and we are fearless people. Don't get fearful, okay? Nous band together, mettez main ensemble, nous capables faire so much more. So thank you again, Dr. Nicolas. Don't be a stranger. This is your home. I want you
Chérie,
to keep coming back
Mais
because
oui.
I created this platform for to have conversations with Haitian community members like you. And I want to continue to bring that type of caliber of people on this platform because I know it's going to continue to inspire. Nous voulons inspirer, nous voulons encourager, nous voulons empower. Empowerment is very important to me. I want to empower our community and also those who are watching. For those who didn't know, now you know. Haiti is a great country. We are an amazing people. Just because right now we are struggling, that doesn't mean we're always going to be there. Because I
Yeah.
know I'm a person of faith. And I know my faith tells me that things will get better. Tomorrow looks much better than today. And I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to being part of the change that's
Absolutely.
going to continue to happen in Haiti. Merci en pile. Bonne soirée à
Oh,
tout le monde. Continuez, regardez-nous, partagez, disons-nous que nous avons chose ça et aussi to, yeah, continue to come back. Next week we'll be here for another great episode of Let's Talk Money with Friends. God bless you and have an awesome night.